Hello people. I had a test flight of my Corsair a couple of days ago. Good friend of mine, Phil, he flies all my stuff for the first time, planes anyway. He's got a lot more experience than me, and plus I like to video the first flight. Phil checks it out, make sure it's all balanced nice, flies good, and then I have a go. But I was lucky the other day, because I actually had a go at the first flight. Phil flew it round and then I had hold of the sticks, but it was very, very sluggish. It didn't have too much power. The throttle mixture was set wrong. I'm not talking about your fast mixture, which is what everyone's got here. They turn it around and make the engine go fast or slow. I'm talking about the actual mixture screw itself. Anyway, so plus after the first flight the exhaust worked its way loose. This does seem to be a bit of a pain in the backside with 4 strokes with these type of exhausts. But I've now got a hole in here so I can get the main mixture screw. I put it back to factory settings, and it was 90 degrees out, as in too rich, and that's why the engine wouldn't rev out properly and pull too well, so the plane was a bit sluggish. But it flew nice, it done everything it says on the box. Phil had it looping and all kinds of stuff, it was great, but it just didn't have the power it should have, so there weren't too much of a problem. Everything worked great, the flaps were brilliant, it had no effect on the plane, as in making it dip or rise or anything like that. It was good. And he done a great landing and the flaps help. But this exhaust problem, now the reason why this happens, I've been on the internet looking around and people use all kinds of things. I've even put bearing fit on this, and obviously because of the temperatures it breaks the bearing fit down and it will rock loose again. I suppose the only real way to do it is to keep filing or machining off the bottom of this where it goes into the engine, so that when it's bottomed out on turning it's practically where you need it, so you can lock the pipe up first and then the lock nut. But being as mine is about here, when it bottoms out I have to move it back so it's in the right position. But what I've done, I've actually epoxied this now. It probably won't work because of the temperatures, but the reason why this happens is the head is an alloy, and the downpipe is steel. They expand at different rates. The alloy is going to expand a lot quicker than the steel, therefore where the threads pull against each other to lock up, it becomes loose. It's the same way as you get a liner out of an engine, or a bearing, the main bearing out of your engines. You can't get at it, you have to put it in the oven for half an hour or heat it up very fast with, say, a acetylene flame, or not on the flame but at the end of it, to heat the casting up quick, and the bearing will drop out. That's because of the expansion rates of metal. So there's, this is a bit of a problem. But what I've done is I've locked it all up and I've now put a spring on here. So I've drilled into this side of the exhaust and I've hooked the spring on this side, so it's actually pulling that way. If it decides to come loose, it's going to pull it that way to kind of keep it tight, not going to unwind it. And I'm going to see how this goes. Hopefully it will help stop everything working its way loose. If it does work loose at the manifold, I'm going to have no choice but to keep machining it down a bit or filing it as flat as you can, and then use a grindstone at the end when you finish filing, until I get it to the point where it turns around, it starts to tighten up here and I can pull it in to there, then do the lock nut up. But before doing all that, that's time consuming, that is, and a lot of work to do that. Keep etching away at the threads until it bottoms out. I'm going to try this idea and I'm going to see what happens. This spring I've shortened it down by about that much so far, so it's quite tight but not really tight. So that's what I'm going to do to see if this exhaust problem gets solved of it going loose. It may help someone else as well. I don't know what ideas anyone else has used, but it seems to be every idea on the internet of epoxies and Loctites just don't work because of the engine temperatures. Another thing that people want to do is, inside here there's me pipe work and all me bits and bobs, my receivers, servos, valve for the retracts, and all your wiring. Tidy up your wiring, people. Make it as short and neat as possible, so when this lot is all connected up, it's not going to foul on any of the servo arms, because when you put the wing on, this lot is all coiled up in here and anything can get caught on it. You know, this could be curled round this here and stop your elevator working, or things like that. So make stuff short, make it neater, tie it back. When this is all connected, it literally sits like that. That is it. I mean, there's no way any of this can interfere with the receiver aerials or any of the servo arms. The wing, in the wing, there's me pipes. They do pull out, but you're going to have to struggle to pull them out a bit. If you want to get them out, to plug it up and then push them back in, same as these, connect them up, push them back in. As the wing goes down, everything's small, everything's neat, it's not going to catch on anything. I mean, you do the hard work, you build the plane, you do all that hard work on building a plane, putting an engine in and all the rest of it, and it's just you know, an hour to tidy up all your pipe work and your cables. I mean, I even went so far as changing Phillips head screws. All these were Phillips head screws. As you know, every model has them. I've changed these for Allen head. They've got a washer attached, and because they're an Allen head or a cap head, you put the Allen key in, you just have to turn it. You don't actually have to put any forward pressure to undo it. And sometimes your screws, they screw out the balsa and they don't actually come out, so you push harder and harder, and then the hole ends up a bit screwed up. So that's a good idea as well, to change all your Phillips head screws for cap head. And the cap heads come with, you know, it's all combined, the washer. Really easy. Put it in, just unscrew it, no pressure applied to the plane. Brilliant. So it's just just an idea about this exhaust, and just tidying up things, you know. The hard work's done. My Stuka inside here, it might be hard to see, but all this cabling, there's so much of it because it goes the length of the wing and so on, that it all gets coiled up in this little section here, and it can foul on the servo arm. So now it's all tied back. It takes time. It's really fiddly trying to get in there with cable ties, but now it can't move anywhere. It cannot move onto anything to get bind or even pulled apart. And another thing that you should always do is, when you connect up your servo leads, always put something round them, like one of these, an easy clip. It just goes over it, locks the two together. It won't come out of vibration, and even if you pull it, it's not going to come out. So it's just a little bit of second safety for your brain when you're up there flying. Anyway, there you go. I can't wait to test this out again, especially as the fuel mixture now is going to be a lot leaner. The engine's going to rev better, and it should sound really nice when it goes past.